Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Michael Prado, and welcome to RunVigor Stress Control Training Center, your number one companion in stress control and helps you achieve wellness, career growth, organizational strength, harmonious relationship, and overall success. Today, we're going to talk about a very timely and interesting topic, and that is how to be optimistic during this time of pandemic and the meaning of toxic positivity and its upshot to our well-being. Joining us today are my good friends to share their insights and experiences about toxic positivity and how to stay positive during these trying times. We have Miss Kisha Morelos Tienes. Hi, ma'am.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon po sa ating mga nanonood.
And Alil Auxilios Kayanan.
Hi, good afternoon, John, and to all our listeners.
Now that we know that being positive nowadays is very important, especially now that we're having this pandemic, um, timely at interesting talaga ang pag-uusapan natin kasi dito natin malalaman kung ano yung mga dapat nating gawin para maging stay positive. And mamaya pag-uusapan din natin ang toxic positivity at kung paano natin yon malalagpasan. Now that we know that there are a lot of people experiencing different kinds of emotions, it's like a roller coasters of emotions nowadays because of this pandemic and of course our problem, our private problems with the family, with friends, and among others. It's hard to keep positive nowadays, right? So, in your opinion, or what is your stand on how to be positive and stay being positive when you know that we are surrounded with different negativity? What can you say to people who are seeking confidence, hope, or courage? Let's start with Miss Kisha.
For me, para maging positive, let's think about the opportunities, kung ano yung nangyayari sa atin ngayon. Kasi di ba nga, nakaka-experience tayo ng limitation sa ating galaw. So, kailangan evaluate natin sarili natin. Kailangan kunin natin yung pinaka-opportunity sa kung anong nangyayari sa buhay natin ngayon. Kung ano yung meron ka ngayon, maging masaya tayo dyan. At maging kontento. Kasi alam naman natin na may mga restrictions pa rin, lalo na sa mga galaw natin. Yun ang sa tingin ko magiging way natin to think positive kahit na nagkakaroon tayo ng maraming struggle sa buhay.
Thank you very much, Kisha, for that insightful statement. So for her, kailangan we must find opportunity in everything that is happening to us and be happy and contented to what we have. Oo, sobrang importante nun. Kasi if we are keep on looking, 'di ba? Okay lang naman to dream big, but we should know how to maximize all the resources that we have at hand. So, okay, thank you very much. And next to Miss Alel, your insight about how to be positive even if you are being surrounded with negativity around you.
Okay, so how to be positive? My general tip is to, okay, John, so how to stay positive? We have to see the meaning and purpose to all things that are happening. Okay, so whenever we see negativity, it is best to see or read between the lines, know why it is happening, evaluate, and be grateful. Be grateful that you have an opportunity to overcome that negativity. And being positive also means being happy about the simplest things. Like, for example, you feel air, wind, no? The sunshine, the colors of the trees, the smell of the grass, and the taste of your breakfast or whatever your breakfast is. So being happy about it is the simplest things is one way to be positive. And being surrounded with negativity is to look at it as a opportunity to find the purpose.
Thank you very much, Miss Alel. So, parang almost like the same with Miss Kesha, we should always look at the simplest thing, di ba? Be happy every day, be thankful. Parang ganun ang gusto nating sabihin when it comes to being positive, kahit puro negativity na yung nasa paligid natin, also with the news, with the pandemic, and our personal problems. Alam naman natin na we are in different we're in different pages of our lives. What may be good to you may not be good to me. So, what is a sort of advice can you give to people who's struggling right now to find the beauty in every situation, who's struggling with the loss of job, no matter what kind of positive things that we say to them or we tell them, they seem not to see it. They seem not to feel it. They seem not to really appreciate because the current situation is very challenging. You know, ang hirap magsabi sa isang tao na okay lang yan kung wala naman siya makain. So, what is like a piece of advice that you can give them na palakasin ang loob nila para magpatuloy sa nangyayari ngayon to stay positive? We know not everyone has a positive mindset. What is your stand on this, and what is sort of technique is best to cope with this kind of outlook in life? Miss Kisha?
John, it's so difficult from other people to cope up dun sa pinaka-struggle nila when it comes to positivity. Kasi may mga times na mahirap i-accept kung ano yung nangyayari sa'yo, kung ano yung emotions mo. So, my advice is to run through the process. Yan yung kanina ko pa rin sinasabi. And learn to evaluate your emotions. Kasi may mga emotions tayo na hindi natin ipapakita because we are ashamed of it. Kumbaga, hindi natin siya ma-process kasi hindi natin tinatanggap sa sarili natin na nararamdaman natin to. Kasi medyo judge tayo ng ibang tao. Just, evaluate yourself, run through the process, know your strength and weaknesses. Yung mga weaknesses natin, pwede natin tong gawing strength natin in a positive side. Yan. Accept the whole you. Lahat i-accept mo sa sarili mo. Pati yung emotions mo, kailangan mo siyang tanggapin. I know it's not easy to accept for some people kung ano yung struggle nila, kung ano yung nararamdaman nila, yung emotions na pinapakita nila. Kailangan mo siyang tanggapin na minsan nakakaramdam ka ng kalungkutan, sadness, fear, anger, anxiety, uneasy. Okay lang na maramdaman yan. It's okay not to be okay.
Thank you very much, Kisha, for that insight. Let's hear Miss Alel naman.
Hi, Jan. Okay, so we have different types of coping mechanisms, no? And most of the time, this crosses with with the clinical psychology issue. So, kasi when we talk about coping mechanism, it is a way of survival. So we are faced with something that is fearful, negative. So it's how we deal with it. So we have two types of that. We have maladaptive. That's where the clinical aspects will come in, because that some of the mechanisms there, if we have audience who are into psychology, you will be familiar with this, with the denial, repression, suppression, no? And that needs support. That needs clinical support. But what we can control are the adaptive coping. So as what Keisha said, we need to accept it and face it. So what I would share on my part is to do what feels good. Do what feels good at that moment. You don't need to be forced by social pressure that you need to still be happy, or things like that. You need to face it. Do what feels good. If you want to cry, then cry. If you want to throw things, then you can throw maybe pillows, or uh, things that if you want to vent out with control, meaning just so you can express it, no? Be it music, right? And listen to what rock songs or whatever you want to just do what feels good for you at this time. And then once you're calm, then that's the time you evaluate, like also what Isha said, you evaluate and think about what happened and what you can do about it. So uh, that's two. First is to do what feels good, and second is to evaluate when you're calm already. That's all.
Thank you very much. That is a very comprehensive and very insightful statement. You mentioned about survival and what feels good. Nowadays, there's been a word that is sprouting all over the internet, and that is what we call the toxic positivity. Now, ano nga ba yung toxic positivity na ito at paano siya nakakatulong sa atin mag-survive kung meron man o paano siya nagiging damaging sa isang individual. But first, let us talk about ano nga ba ang toxic positivity, Miss Alel?
Yes, Jan. To give our listeners a brief definition, no, by from Psychology Today, uh, the writer here, who's the psychologist, defined the phrase toxic positivity as a concept that keeping positive and keeping positive only is the right way to live your life. And it also means rejecting anything that may trigger negative emotions. So, based on that definition given to us by a psychologist, no, it rejects all other things that may help, no, recognize the problem. So when we put it in a situational sense, uh, sobra-sobra na. Sobrang-sobra na yung positivity to the point that you mask it, and it's like a band-aid solution. There's a wound deep inside. Nga lang, you're not curing the wound, but you're just putting in band-aid para lang walang blood or something, but still hurts, diba? So uh, I've been there, and most of us have been there. We are all facing bound to face hurt one way or another. So I've also been to toxic positivity, and it's ano lang siya, temporary, but it doesn't really solve the problem.
So it's like invalidating others people feelings, right?
Right,
Like
right.
you're not recognizing what that a person is feeling, but
Yes,
instead you're giving pure positivity. Is it as if you're not acknowledging? Is that what you're
yes,
trying to say? Not
yes, yes,
acknowledging the people, I mean, not acknowledging the feelings of your friend or the
yes.
other people around you. You just keep on saying positive.
Yes, and the worst part about that, John and Kisha, is that uh, anything that's not positive, that's bad solution already. So when a person cries or is feeling sad, that response is being tagged as nega mo naman, or you're not being positive, mali yan. Dapat happy ka lang lagi. Dapat. So, but crying is healthy, di ba? So that's the scary or dangerous part about toxic negativity. It blocks off others.
Thank you very much, Alel. My second question is, why is toxic positivity damaging? Paano siya nagiging harmful sa isang individual? Any insight about that, Miss Kisha?
Nagiging damaging yung sobra-sobrang positivity. Ini-encourage natin yung isang tao na maging silent kung ano yung talagang nararamdaman niya. We put a mask on a person na nag-struggle siya kung ano ba talaga kung ano yung dapat niyang maramdaman. Kasi may mga chances na kahit nakakaramdam ako ng pagod, pero in a deeper emotion, nakakaramdam pala ako ng stress, ng depression, ng sadness, yung extreme sadness. Kumbaga hindi siya may evaluate agad. Ang bawat tao magkakaiba sila ng pag-accept kung ano yung nararamdaman nila at mga situations. Kasi may mga iba't ibang situation na iba-iba rin ang pagtanggap ng bawat tao. Sobra kasi yung pagiging positive mo na hindi mo na-evaluate yung sarili mo at yung situations kung ano yung dapat mong gawin.
To make it more vivid, Can you cite or give some real life examples or scenarios where toxic positivity is more likely to happen or to occur, Miss Alel?
Yes, one common example that we find nowadays, no, uh, this is about stigma, about gender, about men, no, that we need to eradicate. We need to remove this. When a guy is with his guy friends, no, so ano tayo, bonding yung, hindi bonding ang tawag doon eh, but boys night out or guys night out. And then all of a sudden nag-verbalize yung isang guy, and then one of his friends will say, don't worry about it, stay positive, or don't worry, be happy, yung mga ganyan. So as 'di ba, we have for so long we have this culture of men crying is a sign of weakness, but now most of us, which is good, no, na most of us are advocating na real men cry because hindi kasi nasa gender yon. So that's one of the examples, yung nape-pressure ka socially, and when one of your friends tell you na huwag mo nang problemahin yon, stay positive, nega-nega mo naman, social pressure with friends. Especially if you have this ego na you are a successful person, tapos nagsabi ka ng problem, and then ikaw pa, kayang-kaya mo yan. Oh, yun. That's one of the most common.
Other example, pagka nag-struggle tayo in judging people or situation, kahit sa sarili lang natin ito within ourselves, sasabihin natin na nakaya nila, so kakayanin ko rin. Pero hindi mo na-evaluate, hindi mo na-accept kung ano yung mistake na commit mo. Maaaring meron silang strength na wala ka, maaaring yung weaknesses mo is strength nila. So yun yung hindi natin kasi yan na-evaluate agad. Naiisip agad natin na kaya naman nila so kaya ko din. Kasi pareho lang naman kaming tao. So yun yung toxic positivity thoughts na minsan naiisip natin. Guilty ako dyan kasi minsan nagagawa ko siya at naiisip ko din siya na nakaya nila but di ko makakaya. Pero at the same time, meron kang evaluation ng sarili mo at saka evaluation ng weaknesses and strength.
Another common example is yung what we hear on the news, yung madalas yan in the Western countries, no, I've heard this news in the United States na about teenagers and adolescents, no, kasi there's this one post which went viral, and that post was from a teenager that went to her mom, asked that, I have a problem about school, and then the mom said, you can do it, you can deal with it. And then the next day, nag-suicide na. That's one of the common things that are that have been undergone or yung pinagdadaanan ng mga teenagers na meron kasi silang stage na identity versus role confusion. Confused sila usually ang mga teenagers. So, as parents or yung mga support system, family members, it's better to be mindful. Huwag nating i-ano sa kanila na alam na nila yung gagawin or kaya na nila yan just because nasa college na sila or just because high school na sila. Kasi yan ang isa sa toxic positivity na it kills lives, no? It's sadly that we have to bring awareness about this, na for our children na yung mga nagdadalaga or nagbibinata na if they open up to you, listen to them, because if you fail to listen and you just assume that they're okay, we might regret the outcome. Ayan yung isang dangers din, a common example.
Based on the examples that you have given, we can say that if we have relatives or if we know someone who's having a bad day, we may just say, or the better way to say it, if a person tells you, I'm having a bad day, I'm not okay, I'm not fine, maybe we can say that I may not know what you feel, but I'm here for you, something like that. Let us not invalidate the feelings of our friends to what they feel, of course, and what they are experiencing. Let us avoid, mm, like what you said, let us avoid putting mask to reality. Let's face it. And the only time you acknowledge it, that's also the only time you can do something about what is happening in reality, right? So I guess that's what I'm taking from the examples that you have cited. So, what is your final advice for all of us right now looking or finding doors of positivity, hope, and courage? Let's start with you, Miss Kisha.
For me, it's important to acknowledge the reality of your emotion. Verbalizing them, hindi mo siya kailangang itago. Accept the process. May process lahat yan eh. There's a process of our life na kailangan mong i-accept kung ano yung mistakes mo, yung emotions na kailangan mong ipakita. Don't put a mask on your face na hindi mo kayang panindigan kasi yun yung pinaka-struggle. At yung emptiness na mararamdaman mo sa sarili mo kasi nandun yun, hindi mo siya ma-fill in. Be mindful of yourself sa actions mo and always pray kasi nandyan lang naman siya for us. Meron din tayong companion, meron tayong mga friends, family na pwede mo silang kausapin para ma-share mo kung ano yung nararamdaman mo. Accept the process, run through the process, and accept your own self.
Thank you very much, Miss Kisha. Miss Alel, your advice?
Yeah, so we are all faced with these trying times. So we have yung dito sa struggling times natin, kailangan we help each other out, no? So this is a two-way street, okay? The one who's feeling hurt and the one who's around that person, no? Kasi it's a dual responsibility, no? So this person who's feeling hurt, dyan yung sinabi ni Keisha, what Keisha mentioned applies na you respect your own beautiful heart and mind na you have your own process, you evaluate it. So, kung meron ka man scars, you recognize it, no? You face it. If you are the person on the other side naman, if you are a relative, a partner, or a friend of someone who's hurt, we also have a social responsibility to listen, no? Listen, not prejudge, not pressure the person to just forget about the feelings, no? Do not think about it. Do not be problematic about it. We may not know it, no? But we might be adding more hurt to the person if we fail to listen and recognize, and we might be doing more damage. So it's and kapag nagka-damage ng further damage itong other person who's important to us, damage din tayo. Kaya we might see, no, in the news those na nagkakaroon ng problema, sising-sisi yung tao na nakapaligid because what did I do wrong? So this is one way for us to stop toxic positivity. Stop it and please recognize and listen. That's our social responsibility to the person that we love, no? So dalawa yan, two-way street. Tapos doon naman sa isa na nagsasuffer and na hurt, no? Yun as what I said, yung meron sa Japan yan eh, yung broken glass, they stick it again and then the gold yung dinidikit niya and the remodeled or yung rebuilt na yung ceramic, yung bowl, puro siya basag-basag na dinikit-dikit but it looks beautiful. It's an art. Diba? So, we can look into ourselves and say, oh, sometimes we get broken, no? But it is the beauty in our lives, no? So, ganon siya, itanggapin natin siya, heal, and if we need help, let us not be ashamed to seek help. There are professionals, clinical professionals. If hindi na talaga gumagana ang friends advice or ano, if it really hurts too much, it's not wrong to consult the medical professionals such as the psychologist and psychiatrist. So beautiful ang ating emotions. We respect it and we do not isolate the feelings of sadness, anger. We accept those. Yan lang.
Thank you very much, Miss Alel and Miss Kisha, for that very wonderful discussions. Sobrang dami naming natutunan. And to our listeners and viewers, thank you again for tuning in and staying with us. Please catch us again next time or every Sunday at 2 p.m. And please follow us in our social media accounts in Facebook and in YouTube. Thank you very much and goodbye.